Hi, everyone. Welcome to another off season episode. Today, I will be covering Virgins. It will be a solo episode. I am your host, Tane. And yes, I am still watching the show because I am very curious to see where they're headed with it. And I just keep finding myself watching. But before I dive into the episode, I just want to say that my heart goes out to everyone that is affected by the recent floods. It's just so unimaginable. And I can imagine all the people who lost someone in this kind of disaster. Like, I'm thinking about the little girls that were in camp, their parents and all their loved ones who have to deal with this loss. My deepest sympathies go out to all of them, and I hope they find the strength to go through this process and their grieving. Okay. I just also want to tell you guys that there is no new episode of the Maths rewatch this week, but we will be back next week to continue with our rewatch. I believe it will be episode 9. And a reminder that patreon.com/altocall MAFS, you can get bonus episodes and listen ad free on there. The Ultimatum season 2 is complete, Queer Love, and you can find the recaps with Brian from Maths Virgin on there. Cover all the episodes, including the reunion. And I did a Sister Wives 101 with Aid. And also, if you don't want to join any of the paid tiers, you can join for free and be a free patron over there. And you can join in the community chat. I'm not covering it, Love is Blind Sweden. I just realized that I never got around to watching it and we are just chatting about it. So if you want to join us in this watch, you just got started and you can chat with us on there. You can join for free and just join the conversation on that and other shows and other happenings that are going on. I'd like to share like a listener thought and shout out to Eliza, who thinks that Deanne from Virgins must have been incarcerated or been in a cult or a place where she wasn't socializing with people because she finds like the way she interacts with people really weird. For example, when she met the guy at the speed date where they were dunking themselves in ice water, and he asked where she was from, and she's just like Connecticut, and that's it. Considering she lives in Los Angeles, and she feels like that was a conversation ender. Nowhere to go from there. I hadn't thought about it that way. I know I just keep saying something is a little off about Deanne, but I don't know what it is, and that is Eliza's thought that this is what's going on. So I found that very interesting because I did not think about that. But that would be one heck of a reveal if she does share with us that something, because something did happen. Like, we can all agree about that, right? Because I don't know what her angle is. She seems to have a decent social life. She seems to have friends, but we do not hear about her family though. So I don't know. It might be onto something. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Okay, as always, I'm going to go with each character and share what they've been up to in the past episode. And I'll start with Rhasha. Rhasha, gas, pedal to the metal. Like, she's stepping on the gas. She just switched out guys because if you remember the last guy, she just cut him off and was like, she didn't get good vibes. And she tells us that she's going on a date to the same selfie showroom because, god damn it, she is going to the selfie showroom and she is going with a new guy. And I like how she was listing out all the things that the guys that she's with must have. And she says they must have their own place, their job. And I'm like, are these not two things that she does not have? But, still her expectations, I guess. Her date is Jeremy, and they're having a good time and they're taking all the pictures. And randomly, he mentions that the room that they're in is it looks like a BDSM room. And she's all tickled and she does that laughter that she does, that childlike laughter that she does. And she's like, she swears that she never mentioned anything to him. So he says that he's been in the lifestyle for 15 years and she's very intrigued by it. That all his profile said was he's open minded and non vanilla. So eventually, while they're having their date, because he cooks for her and she goes over to his house. She tells him that she is a virgin. Oh, I'm sorry. She told him she's a virgin at the selfie showroom still while they're there. And he says, "Uh-huh, uh-huh, that's amazing," while he's nonstop nodding. So he tells us that he likes sex, but it's not the main thing for him, but he will be gentle, but he seems to be interested in her. So then they have a follow up date where he's cooking dinner for her and she has to show up at his house. I mean, I don't know if it's a date. She showed up at his house in sweats. I mean, I'm all for looking comfortable, but you could still, dress up a little bit and not sweats. That's maybe further down the line, not a second date. I mean, she still look cute, but I just wouldn't have gone with sweats myself for that. So they start talking about, all of the things after while they're eating and talking about the BDSM. And the producer asked her what BDSM stands for. You guys, Rasha says BDSM is booty, dick, sex, and moaning. And I'm rapidly blinking like, oh my God. Like you allegedly claim that you want this thing so bad and you don't know what it means. You haven't looked it up, or is this just another one of her jokes, or is she being serious? I guess is the reaction, but I really think that she was being serious. I mean, for anyone curious, it means bondage, dominance, sadism, and masochism. But like I said, and I've said every episode, Rasha watches too much porn and she speaks like what she thinks she's supposed to say. It's not what she actually thinks. And that's why you find her talking dirty a lot and saying all these things like Big Purr is trying to get fed. And the irony is, as much as she talks dirty, there is still something really childlike about her. In the premiere episode, I mentioned how she had like fairy lights and her room just kind of looks childlike. When the producers are talking to her, the way she claps her hands is so animated. She laughs so hard at everything. It almost seems like a deflection, but yeah. The dirty talk at dinner, you guys save me. It's too much. It doesn't seem organic. Everything just seems forced, and that's what she's, trying to do. For anyone who watched like the first season of Survivor or that is familiar, does Jeremy her date not look like Richard Hatch? He looked a lot like him to me. So, anyways, she immediately tells him that she would like to experiment and see the toys. And they go down to his room and he kind of spanks her and she's reacting not appropriate to the spanking that she's getting, just really animated as usual, really loud, and I couldn't even tell if she enjoyed it or not, or if she thought those were the sounds that she was supposed to make. And eventually she says, and she tells us in a confessional, that it didn't feel as sexy as it looks in porn. You guys, if porn is going to be her measurement, she is going to be mightily disappointed with her first time, because she has created this unrealistic view and image of what sex would be. And then not just sex, she's taking it to a level of, I want to be spanked, choked, I want it nasty, I want to do all that. I don't know what her categories are in porn, but she's setting herself up for disaster. She does say that in porn, the guys are powerful and dominant, and she's just not sexually attracted to Jeremy. I don't think she remembers that these people in porn are also actors and it's also entertainment, so everything is exaggerated. But this is where we are. She goes to see her therapist, and she's telling us on her way there that a lot of things have happened, which is true. She's dated multiple men. She's dismissed them. She has gotten spanked. She has gone to the ropes rooms. Like, that's a lot. So the therapist asks her, the guy that she stopped talking to, how did she do it? And she's like, I didn't have a conversation. I just cut him off. That was it. And she said, with Jeremy, what was the problem with Jeremy? Why did you dismiss him? And she's like, I mean, I'm a bigger girl. I don't think he can manhandle me. I don't think he can give me what I'm looking for. And the therapist is like, I hear a lot of judgment. Like, you have created an unrealistic, perfect person, and coupled with pornography, and she's looking to manifest that. I mean, I had all these thoughts before I even heard the therapist say it, but she's right, absolutely. And the therapist tells us that Rasha has created boxes that she just wants to check off. So instead of being in the moment, she's just checking off the boxes. And if he doesn't check off, then she just cuts it off and then just starts from fresh. So she tells Rasha that, the thought that comes to her is that she's thinking of her marriage. And since she was used in that marriage, that Rasha is now holding everyone responsible for what he did to her, and he is holding her hostage. And for someone that is not in her life, he's holding her hostage. And that is why she's been dismissing people soon. At this point, Rasha is kind of teary and kind of sad and says, like, her trauma is coming into play. So the homework that the therapist gives her is that she asks her to increase her intimacy, not just with partners, but with people in her life. Well, like I said, Rasha, not one to waste any time, tells us that she's been talking to a new guy. To be honest, guys, I do think there was like a huge time jump somewhere in there. They're not telling us that there was a time jump, but it feels like when I go through all the couples that there was a time jump, and maybe there's a couple of gaps that we're not missing. Maybe they felt like the show was moving slow and they just gave it some time to pick up, but they just didn't include that in the storyline for us. But she tells us that she's been talking to a new guy and that she was going to dismiss him because he canceled twice on her. I feel like that's a good reason to dismiss him. Like, I mean, that is the reason. Like, if he's canceled twice, like, what is going on? What makes her so sure he's not going to make it a third time? Also, I'm not going to mention the, I don't know if anyone else noticed. Raj's therapist was wearing like a very huge necklace, statement piece, whatever you want to call it, that looked like a stethoscope. And it was just huge and it was really long all the way to her. Well, oops, I didn't mean to say that. But yes, it was just huge and long. And I was like, wow, someone saw this and thought, you know what, this would be a good thing to wear. Hopefully, it wasn't an actual stethoscope. I don't think she would need that though. But yeah. Okay, so Rasha tells us that she is going to a resort, an adult resort, and she's telling her sister and her mom, but she's not telling them what type of resort it is. She's just showing them all the things that she's packing, and she's wearing packing like a bikini and, really tiny articles of clothing, and her sister's like, you don't even wear that here. Why are you doing this? And I think that's my problem with Rasha. Like, why are you not just being yourself? She's always on, and it always feels like she's playing a character. And if she's looking for a genuine connection, I don't know how she intends to make that connection if she's not being her real self and she's playing a character. And when you combine that with the fact that she's always leading with sex or dirty talk, it doesn't come off as genuine. So I wish she would just take a deep breath and just realize that she's enough and get to do that. So she finally tells them that she's going to an adult resort, and it's a place where you can experience yourself. And the producer asked her, what do you think this resort is about? Again, just like she didn't know what BDSM was, I don't think she knows what this resort is about, because she said what she imagines is everyone screwing everybody, limbs just hanging out everywhere, and just basically a free for all. How do you not know what you're signing up for? Because yet again, is either you don't know or you're playing a character, and neither is a good option. So I just, again, think that she's doing too much. It's almost like she wants sex without the foreplay. She needs to heal inside. She needs to heal whatever it is that's going on, get in touch with reality, be grounded, and then she'll be able to receive whatever is coming to her, no pun intended. But she's doing way too much and just trying to force this. I understand it's a TV show, but I think like she just needs to lose the character and just be herself, because in every episode that we've seen, I mean, you can see where her voice changes when she talks about her past. I think the most her voice was, what I think was her actual voice, was when she was talking about when her marriage and how it ended and everything that went through. I'm not saying that she has to be sad to be real, but I just think that she should just always be true and honest with that. So when she tells her mom that her mom is about to have a heart attack, her sister is like, listen, I'm going to support you. You're grown. You can do what you need to do. And, she thanks her sister, and her sister tells her mom the same thing. So she is going with a friend to this resort, which is like, I don't know, Candyland or something like that, which kind of matches what we know of Russia, where in a way she's childlike. So it's a wonderland, but then it's candy. And it freaked me out. I don't understand what the concept was about. But she's excited. Her friend knows that she's a virgin. Her friend to me gives her bad advice and says like, why is William not coming over here? And she's like, oh, like I just thought that it would be too soon. Now earlier she had mentioned her friend asked her, does William, is he into the BDSM and all that? And it's like, I don't know, we haven't brought it up. I don't want to bring it up because it might be too soon. I want to get to know him more, and then I can bring it up to him. And I wish they had asked her, what if he says that he's not okay with it? Is it a deal breaker for you? Like, she's so fixated on the BDSM, and like it's absurd to hear someone say, I'm into BDSM, I want to do this, but you haven't actually had sex. So if he tells you, I'm okay with you being a virgin, but I'm not into BDSM, is it a deal breaker? Like, what are you? I don't know. This is why I say this show is ridiculous. But yeah, so she says she's taking her time. And then her friend is like, well, you need to tell him to come to the resort. Send him a text that this room is sweet and it'll be sweeter with you in here. And she does send the text. And I think that's how her segment ends for these episodes. And I just think that's a bad idea. But I can't remember if I'd mentioned it. You cannot convince me that all of the romantic interests on this shows all give me paid actor vibes. No one gives me genuine. Everything gives me paid actor vibes, because you can't tell me that you're trying to go slow, you're trying to see if he's okay with it, and then next thing, you're inviting someone you've gone on just a couple of dates with to an adult resort where you don't even know what's going to happen there. I don't know. It's a little bit too much, but that's it with Raja. And then we move to Alex. So, bringing your date to your house on a second date, and you have to beg your parents to leave the house, that's a choice. A second date could easily have been at a restaurant, could have been anywhere else. Did not have to be at your family house with all the pictures on there. But like I said, I do believe they're all paid actors. And I noticed that I think it's interesting that I think for most of the women, they were asked about if they masturbate, but I do not recall, or I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, if Alex was asked that. And I don't know why he wasn't asked. Why just the women? So Andrea comes in, they're in his room on his bed, and then he comes clean and says that he's a virgin. And she actually holds his hands and says that he doesn't have to hide it. Everyone has their quirk. That's funny. She's calling his virginity a quirk. But she tells us that she is surprised that he was a virgin, and she remembers how scary it was for her. These adjectives are killing me. I'm sorry. It's just a quirk, and then so scary to be a virgin. And then she really has compassion for him. I mean, it's not an affliction. I mean, some may consider it an affliction, but just the way she said it, you think he had the plague or something. But either way, she's nice about it. She's not like screaming out saying, you weirdo. She's fine with it. She's smiling with him. So then he asks her out again, but not even giving eye contact, but he asks her out to see her again. And then she agrees. And then they're sitting on the bed, they're staring at each other. And then Alex is like, you know what? I think this is the perfect time to lean in for a kiss. They're doing this awkward hugging and then awkward silence, and they're staring at each other. I have secondhand embarrassment. Like, I was cringing. I closed my eyes. I put my hands over my eyes, and I'm looking between my hands like, this is not happening. Make it stop. And he leans in for the kiss, and she stops it with her finger, and she's like, no, I want us to get to know each other first. And oh, I nearly died. It's too much. So naturally, he's embarrassed, and he's just questioning everything about himself. And I don't blame him. At this point, I would do the same thing. Like, he went out on a limb, he went out of his comfort zone, and he did try. He thought he read the room right, and he read it wrong. And so they get on a Zoom call, which I thought, this is so formal. Why are they on the video call? Not even a FaceTime, but they got on a Zoom call. And Andrea sounds like ChatGPT has written out a script for her, and she sounds like she's AI. And she is tells him that she is allegedly, the allegedly is mine, going to Egypt, and she's going to be there for a while. And she doesn't know if they can, they'll be able to see each other that much, but she does want them to cultivate a friendship. You guys, do you use cultivate in your life on a regular day to day basis? Like, why not just say, I hope we continue to be friends? Who uses cultivates? ChatGPT wrote that shit. So this reminded me of that episode of Friends. If you guys watch Friends, do you remember when Chandler lied to Janice that he was moving to Yemen just so he could be away from her? I think that's what Andrea did. She said she's going to Egypt. There's no way in hell Alex is going there. So that's done. So he says that he's hurt. He's teary. Like, he opened up to her. He shared with her that she's a virgin. And I'm like, yeah, sharing that you're a virgin does not mean you get the right to anything else. She's running for the hills and going to Egypt. Then we see Alex hanging with his sisters again. I said it before, like, hey, great for him that he has the sisters, great that they're close. He needs to get more friends. Get a friend and hang out with them, whether friends that are women, friends that are men, but people that are not your sisters. And then he says he's met someone named Lauren. Now, I don't know if I missed it, but I don't think he mentioned how he met Lauren, or I didn't get how he mentioned. And this is what I mean, guys, where I feel like there was a time jump in the show, but they just didn't mention it because what we saw was you being sad that she was going to Egypt, and then now you're telling us that you met someone. And it's the same way Rhasha met William, and I don't know when that happened, that they've already gone on a couple of dates. So he tells us about Lauren, and for their second date, and he likes her and all that. For their second date, he is bringing her to meet his sisters. Too soon. That's like meeting the family. Like, it's not, there's no other way to put it. Like, you are meeting the family and even his sisters. Why did they agree to do it? And why did they not tell him, let's meet her later, get to know her better? Because remember, he didn't do the same thing with Andrea. So what is this about? But like I said, paid actors. But his sister says that they feel like it's too soon, that he needs more time to reevaluate what went wrong, what did he do. And I think they missed the fact that he's like a 34-year-old virgin. There's no time. He doesn't have time to sit and reflect. He just has to keep going. So he says that he doesn't want to go too fast, but she's meeting his family, so she's surprised as well that this is their second date. Good on her for even agreeing. I don't think I would. Someone tells me, oh, we're meeting the family for the second date. I'm like, oh, I think I'll pass. Why don't we wait for another time? And I don't know if I'll see them again if they ask for that, but she agrees to do it. So we know what she does because he asked her, I guess this is their second date, and she says she's like an IT tech, something in the tech industry, IT. But we still don't know what Alex does, and we're 5 episodes in, because that's the other thing I wanted to know is, how does he make money? I know he's staying with his parents, but is he making any kind of money? Because that would be a deterrent. Like, I don't know why she didn't ask him, what do you do? But that might be a huge step. I think everyone is missing a couple of steps and they're trying to aim high. So he's trying to get girls, he's trying to do that, but I don't think he realizes, like, if he has a job, if he has like structure, if he has friends, these are all the things that's going to help him build confidence, and he will be much more comfortable talking to women with that. But yeah, my only last note for them is, like, his sister's one of those people. I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger. You guys, I don't know. It just bothers me when people do that. Like, why do you have to announce it? Just do what you need to do. But yeah, that's it on Alex. He's all right. I think he'll be all right. He just needs a little bit more confidence. And like I said, I don't know his job situation. Once he gets those, I think everything will naturally fall into place. Although, I will say my other thought is, if Lauren is not a paid actor, this is someone that he's already dating or has been dating for a while, for him to feel comfortable to bring her to see his sisters for a second date. Okay, so Deanne, the mystery. Deanne has never plunged, and wink wink. This, I mean, like the ice plunge, like she's doing like a speed dating thing where they have to plunge into ice water while they speak to their date, and it's an icebreaker speed date event. So unsurprisingly, she says that no one is her vibe except for one person, but of course she says that she doesn't approach guys. So luckily for her, paid actor, he comes up to her and then chats her up, asks what she does, and this is why he asks, where are you from? She says Connecticut, but she has told us that she lives in LA. And he asked her to go to coffee. So she says that she is attracted to him. Hallelujah. But of course, she has created a block because she says, like, everything's great now, but is he going to run away when he finds out that I am a virgin? So she finds out, we start in episode 5, and again, this is where I think her gap is. They don't even go out, they don't even call or do anything. She just looks through her phone and she finds out that he's 24, and she's like, oh, he's way younger than I am. I don't want to go out with someone that young. And as expected for Deanne, she moves the goalpost again and says that he's too young. She says it is too embarrassing to tell a 24-year-old that she's inexperienced. I'm like, does not make any sense. So you would rather someone your age? Why don't you tell a 24-year-old who, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, is also inexperienced? Not like they haven't done anything, but probably not at their prime of all the skills that they should learn. And then you can do it together rather than telling someone who's your age, who has more experience and knows and will be very sensitive, not sensitive, but will be more knowledgeable on the things that you don't know. I don't know what the thing is. She says it, but she does not want to have sex because she keeps changing the reasons, and all the reasons don't make sense all the time. So she goes back to her matchmaker, says she doesn't want to go to her safe zone of not dating at all. And the matchmaker decides that she's going to try some kind of blindfold exercise. So this blindfold exercise is something called updating. It's like a comedy dating show where the two hosts are like comedians. They blindfold you and it's kind of like the dating game, but you're blindfolded and there's an audience and they're asking all these questions that are kind of leading questions and funny questions on there. I'm not against recycling clothes. Deanne tends to recycle her clothes that sometimes I don't know the difference between her workout clothes and her going out clothes. I think I've seen this before. Maybe it was just in a different color when she went out with the first date, the blind date her matchmaker paired her up with, but just in green. I think I just don't like her style. Her style is not my cup of tea. So they're at the comedy dating show, and then it clicked on me that, did you guys notice that all their confessionals are by or on a bed? Like, that's very on the nose, but yeah, it is. So they are asking all these questions. So, like, oh, when was the last time you hooked up with someone? What did you do? So you've never had this. They're all leading questions, but obviously they know she hasn't had sex because she's on a show. They are filming the show. You have signed off on something. You know what the show is about. You're probably getting promo for your speed dating thing or your upending dating, updating dating thing. Wow, there's a lot of dating words in there. So I don't know, but they're leaning into it and playing into it. And so eventually they lead into, like, the sexual experience, and they find out that she's a virgin, and then the audience, they like gasp and all that stuff. So they bring out the guy for her, Conrad, and the hosts are being sarcastic in their confessional. Like, they don't have high hopes that she's the kind of person that would be into casual sex, but if she was gonna have sex for the first time, like, Conrad would be the guy for her. She is interested when she takes her blindfold off. Like, she's interested. She thinks that he's cute and he seems like the kind of person she could embark on a sexual journey with. I mean, he's also interested. He doesn't mind that she's a virgin, but I mean, what paid actor would? And I'm just gonna wait till the next episode to see what her excuse is gonna be, because this is Deanne, and one thing's for certain: she will find something that is a problem. Okay, so the final thing with Sonali. You guys know I ranted about the whole therapist. I don't think that they were being understanding, but the sexual surrogate thing is still so absurd to me. I still can't tell the difference? Do you get license? Is there a license for it? Who gives the license? Like, is there a certificate? Is this who named it a sexual surrogate? What are they surrogating? I just I don't this term is so crazy. They should have found something else. Honestly, they could use intimacy coordinator. I know they use it for sets, but intimacy specialist, intimacy guide, that might be better. But the sexual surrogate thing is just always throws me off every time I hear it. So it's a blank look from her. She's just looking at him and just blinking, no expression, just looking at him. But surprisingly, I mean, her, the therapist, but surprisingly, Sonali agrees to do it. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. So then we start getting flashbacks. Like 2 weeks earlier, she meets the intimacy partner, Wayne. And I just, for someone like Sonali, maybe you should get an intimacy partner that is her type. I mean, this is not Stephen A. Smith Jr. That's who he looks like to me. But to just get someone that would spark her interest, I guess, at first. And she says it herself. She's like, he's not what I was expecting. And then a week later, we see that he was in her home. And she says she's never had a boy in her home before. And as a sidebar, I just want to say, I don't know how this works. In this case, it's kind of okay because we know they're producers, so there are people, so she's not by herself. But say this was a regular client and this therapist is like, oh, get a sexual surrogate, intimacy partner, whatever it's called. Does this person just come into your home and that's it? It's just you and the person? How much trust do you have to have someone that you do not know and be alone with them, considering you're already uncomfortable about sex and intimacy and all stuff like that? And then you have a stranger. How does that foster safety, security, and trust? Everything about this does not make sense to me. Again, understand that it's for TV, but if this is an actual thing, how does it work on a regular basis where there are no producers, no cameraman, and no anything? Is it just both of you in a place? And how is that person supposed to feel comfortable? That's my question about this. So Sonali's not happy. She just says, listen, we're having a lot of dialogue. No, I'm sorry, the intimacy partner is like, it's been difficult and he just wants her to be comfortable with herself. And Sonali is like, listen, we're just having a lot of dialogue that come with debate. She keeps insisting, like, I've been this way for a while and you're trying to change me and I'm not sure where we're headed with this. And he starts saying, like, we're trying to get you comfortable. We're trying to get you to be comfortable enough, like even touching yourself. And Sonali touches herself on her neck and she's like, well, I'm touching myself right now. Like, is this, I mean, she's not lying. He has to be specific. She is touching herself on her neck. And she's like, I'm not going to do the M word. She means masturbate because she says she can't say that word. And she says the M word. And she's like, listen, I don't crave sex or anything. And I'm just like, so why does she keep saying she wants to have sex if she doesn't crave it? Like, because on the flip side, it's okay if she doesn't crave it and she doesn't want it, then just go on with life. And there's a community for everything. If she is asexual, there's a community. She can still find a partner. She can still be intimate in other ways. Like they can not have sex and both people will be happy. So I don't know what is true or not. Like, does she really not crave sex, like she said, or does she really want to have sex? If she really wants to have sex, what is driving that desire to have sex if she physically doesn't desire or crave sex? So she's becoming annoyed. And this is not surprising that she's getting annoyed because I'm still grappling with what the heck a sexual surrogate is. Why did she agree to one? Why did she agree to one? She's like, he keeps talking about me touching myself. If the dilators are so painful, so why does he think like my fingers wouldn't hurt? And I mean, I don't want to be graphic here, guys, so close your ears if not, but there are other ways for her to find pleasure without penetration. If the dilator is hurtful for her, and I'm like, hasn't the intimacy guy told her that? And again, we're skipping many steps. We're skipping many, many steps. So she just starts giving him the thumbs up, and he's like, I'm patient. And she's just like, I'm agitated. We are different genders, we are different cultures. And this is exactly what I was saying on my last recap. Like, we needed to start with baby steps, and maybe there's no one available that is from the same culture as hers, but at the very least, start with the same gender. And that's what I mean. What is a sexual surrogate? Like, does it mean it has to be a person that is going to touch her? It's all so confusing. I just thought it was someone to make her comfortable, but like, if she says right now to Wayne, like, okay, I'm ready to have sex, is he supposed to have sex with her? I don't know. I don't know. Anyone who has more insight into this, I really want to know what this is about. Anyways, they're going around in circles. She screams, like, I have had enough, and she walks away. But then she comes back and, she tells him, like, I was triggered, but, I feel safe around you, because if I didn't feel safe around you, I wouldn't have you in my home. It was such a turnaround. And I was like, good luck, good job to the producer that made everything turn around, because that was a quick turnaround. And then she just says, can you massage my back in a professional capacity? And that actually throws him off. He's like, is this something she actually wants me to do? And he does. I will say this about Wayne: he is very respectful. Like, even when they met, I think before he even shook her hand, he asked for her consent for that and all that stuff. So it's not anything creepy about Wayne or all that. It's just, I don't understand what sexual surrogacy entails and how far it goes. He starts massaging her neck, and she's just like, it feels amazing, and it's just waves of pleasure, and she's enjoying the feeling that she's getting from this. So the switch up is real. Because when you go from seeing her being like so uncomfortable and seeing her saying like, this is comfortable and it feels amazing, I'm happy for her because it seems like she's making progress. But again, we'll see where this goes. So I mean, that's all I got for both episodes. Until the next time where we see, I just wonder if any of these people are going to end with a bang, because they really are sharing their lives, especially Sonali. I think like that's a lot, to put on TV. So kudos to her for doing all of that. All right, guys. Well, let me know what you think. If you have any answers to any of the questions that I asked during the episode, let me know. You know where to find me. Also call MAFS on Twitter, on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. And please give me a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And until the next time, talk to you then. Bye.